everyone, and welcome back to the Life Scope channel. On your way in, don't forget to like, share, definitely subscribe and support the channel. It's appreciated as always. So we're just going to go over a couple of articles. One, talking about DJ Envy defending Diddy, and two, the former Abercrombie and Fitch CEO getting arrested today. So we're going to go right into the articles. So I want to go ahead and talk about DJ Envy. And in this article that I have pulled up, it says Diddy defended by DJ Envy amid sex case. There's nothing wrong with being freaky. DJ Envy has spoken out in defense of Diddy as the bad boy boss sits in jail awaiting trial on sex trafficking and racketeering charges. The Breakfast Club co-host was speaking on his wife's podcast, The Cashapp Show, when he outlined his thoughts on Puffy's criminal case, which accuses him of forcing women to have sex with male prostitutes for his pleasure and running a criminal enterprise that engaged in kidnapping, arson, and bribery, among other things. So let's just stop right there for just a brief second. Now, DJ Envy has a right to his opinion. He even has a right to who he chooses to defend. Now, I've never seen the Cashapp Show, which is his wife's podcast, and I barely keep up with the Breakfast Club. I only see the highlights that are floating around social media, but I haven't seen the Breakfast Club in real time in a long time. So when DJ Envy makes this type of statement, there's nothing wrong with being freaky. When you're talking about Diddy, based off everything that has come out about him, and this has been over the years. This has been decades now, talking about the things that he has been into. But to actually see victims putting out civil suits, it's in writing what he has done, although we'll say allegedly, has done to victims. It's way more than just a little freaky, and I feel like it's a little insensitive and insulting to the people, the audience, you, me, because it's like, come on now, Diddy, just a little freaky. There's nothing wrong with that, really. We just talked about yesterday how a 37-year-old Jane Doe has filed a claim on behalf of her 13-year-old self. That's more than being just freaky. They are talking about the baby oil that is possibly or allegedly spiked and was allegedly seized. Keep in mind that your skin is the biggest organ. So we have to be careful what we actually put on our skin, right? Because we can have allergic reactions. You can die from having something on your skin that your body does not agree with. You have to be very careful of that. So to have this allegation thrown out into the public that possibly baby oil has some type of drugs in it, and then you're putting it on your skin, 1 minute, a person could be just walking around Diddy's party, feeling good, ready to go swimming or something. And the next minute, they could be laid out in a bush in the yard somewhere, off, far away, and nobody knows nothing. So that is more than being freaky. And also just having to put drugs into a person's drink. We don't know if it was knowingly or unknowingly, but what we do know, if you are roofing or putting things in someone's drinks, they are going to eventually pass out. That's more than freaky. So when someone is saying this, even though it is their opinion. It just seems at this point an insult based off of some of the information that has come out. And again, I'm going to say allegedly because it has not been proven that the baby oil is spiked. But let's just keep reading. Referencing the mogul's alleged freak-offs and the enormous stash of baby oil that was allegedly found at his home, Envy said Diddy's a freaky N-word, like freaky, freaky, freaky. And there's nothing wrong with being a freaky person. So the fact that he has 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lube just means he likes to get ish popping, and there's nothing illegal about that. Again, we just went over and discussed that there's nothing illegal about being freaky or illegal about having 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lube. What is illegal is not having consenting adults when you do it. What is illegal is having children participate. That's illegal. Let's keep going. The radio personality also took issue with those who have condemned Diddy before his trial has begun, as well as the judge who is presiding over his case for denying him bail. Now, the judge is denying him bail because remember, he had one judge and then another judge is presiding over his case. But the reason for them denying him bail is because they don't want him intimidating witnesses. Look how long it took. It took him to get arrested in 2024. But all of this stuff, or most of this stuff in rumors, came out in the 90s. So look how long it took. And a part of that could have been and it ain't even a could have been. A part of that is intimidation. Victims felt intimidated. They were scared to speak up. They didn't want to get harassed. So the judge, it makes sense to deny him bail because he still could possibly intimidate victims, maybe even possibly be a flight risk, even though I don't think he would go anywhere, but it's a possibility. So I hear what DJ Envy is saying. It's like he's already being criticized. And I even said yesterday, they are going to have a hard time trying to find a jury that isn't tainted, because you are hearing this information and he's a very well-known person. Everybody's gonna crack a joke. It is what it is. But I don't like how people convict him without hearing all of the evidence he added. I didn't like the fact that they didn't give him a bond. He was gonna put up $50 million, his house, his mom's house. He was giving up his passports. The reason I didn't like that is Diddy has 3 kids without a mom. Kim Porter passed away. He has 2 twins that are 17 years old that don't have their dad right now and probably won't have their dad for the next 2 years until the trial is over. Envy then compared Diddy's case to other high-profile figures who have been accused of crimes against women. I feel like he should have got a bond and been able to fight this outside. Harvey Weinstein had a bond. Bill Cosby had a bond. OJ had a bond. In this society, it feels like you're guilty and you have to prove yourself to be innocent, or it should be the other way. I don't think it's said that somebody with such a great legacy is destroyed because of the things that he did. Envy, who himself has been caught up in legal drama over the last year regarding alleged real estate fraud, did however, acknowledged that Diddy should go to jail for a long time if he's found guilty. So that's all that I want to read on this particular article. And people are saying, folks are just throwing things out there. The reason that DJ Envy could possibly be defending Diddy, maybe he is on some of those videos at some of those parties, or could possibly be in some of the images. And people are saying that they hope he doesn't get caught up, and that could be the reason why he is defending Diddy. Although that's all alleged, and people are just saying that because at this point, it's just best to wait on the evidence, even though he wants to put himself out there to defend Diddy, and he can do that, but people are going to have an opinion about that, just like he has an opinion about Diddy not being treated fairly. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the next article, and a recent person who has got arrested. Former Abercrombie & Fitch CEO arrested on sex trafficking charges. So we're just going to go ahead and listen to a little bit of this news clip to catch up, and then I'm going to read the article that's below.
The former CEO of Abercrombie & Fitch and two others have been arrested as part of a criminal sex trafficking investigation by the FBI. Mike Jeffries was accused in civil lawsuits filed in 2023 of sexually exploiting young men at parties he held with his partner. Jeffries is credited with turning Abercrombie & Fitch into a fashion powerhouse, but has come under criticism in the past few years on accusations of discrimination and over-sexualizing male models. Jeffries' attorney says he will respond to the allegations after the indictment is unsealed and when appropriate. ABC News legal contributor Brian Buckmeyer is joining me now for more on this. Brian, great to see you. We're expecting to hear more at a press conference around noon Eastern today, but what developments in the investigation do you think led to this arrest so many years later?
Absolutely, but first and foremost, as a disclosure, I have to say that I did work for Abercrombie's sister company, Hollister Co., as a model, both in terms of providing service for finding clothes. I was one of the people standing outside with less clothes than you usually see me now, interviewing people and talking to people who come in, and also I modeled for the bag. So I was not a part of this in any way, shape, or form, just kind of giving that disclosure. But in terms of coming next, I think what's next is we're going to potentially see what the charges are, likely sex trafficking, see how many victims there are. And this could be, I think, very similar to what we saw with Sean Combs and the SDNY, that one civil lawsuit kind of opens the floodgates to more civil lawsuits, more charges, more allegations. And I think this is just a Pandora's box waiting to open.
Okay, let me just pause right there. So some people are saying that due to Diddy being arrested on sex trafficking charges and racketeering, that he possibly told on the former CEO of Abercrombie & Fitch. Now, this is allegedly, but you just heard from one of the former workers to the sister brand of Abercrombie & Fitch that due to Diddy getting arrested, it's literally opening up a Pandora's box. And I just want to go ahead and point out, how do we know, or how do we not know, that some of the male models from Abercrombie & Fitch are not tied to Diddy? That could be a case as well, that some of those models could have been tied to Diddy. They could have been so-called modeling at some of his parties. So you never know. But now let me go ahead and read some of this article. Former Abercrombie & Fitch CEO Mike Jeffries and two others were arrested Tuesday as part of a criminal sex trafficking investigation by the FBI and federal prosecutors in Brooklyn. Jeffries, his partner, Matt Smith, and a third man, Jim Jacobson, are accused of operating an international sex trafficking and prostitution business that recruited young men for parties in the U.S., and abroad, according to an indictment. The former retail executive and Smith relied on their vast financial resources, Jeffrey's power as the CEO of Abercrombie, and numerous people, including Jacobson and a network of employees, contractors, and security professionals, to run a business that was dedicated to fulfilling their sexual desires and ensuring that their international sex trafficking and prostitution business was kept secret, the indictment alleges. So far, this is sounding like what they are charging Diddy with. And for people that keep saying, well, the charges are so vague, sex trafficking, sex trafficking, sex trafficking. Well, I think, in my opinion, if Diddy's supposed to be running a music business, if Abercrombie and Fitch CEO is supposed to be running a fashion business, then where is all of this sex coming from? And I mean, you're having sex parties, drugs are involved, you're going in and out of different states. It's being alleged that male sex workers are being paid to sleep with artists, or these, in this case, male models are being sent in and out of the state, and they are performing sexual acts for who knows. So if your business is not supposed to be in the world of sex, and it's supposed to be a music business and a fashion business, then why is it that the power dynamics of these bosses, these CEOs, are influencing these alleged victims? Now, whether or not, if they willingly said, you know what, I need the money, okay, let me go ahead on and get up on this and do this sex party or whatever. If they said that, that is one thing, and that is a little bit of their responsibility, because they could have said no at any time. They could have said, I'm not doing this job. They could have said, I don't want to be this singer, this star, whatever. But again, and I have to stress this, if you have somebody that literally is giving you life-changing money, you don't know how many people will fold at the chance to get life-changing money. And it's not something to really come down hard on the people. I mean, it's just a part of human nature to a certain degree. But it was at the expense of you being abused. It was at the expense of you losing your manhood. It was at the expense for some of the women and men to have to deal with the consequences or the aftermath, and it leads to depression and all types of things. So you have a situation where the bosses, the CEO of Abercrombie and Fitch, and like Diddy doing what he does, being a music mogul, dangling a carrot over the heads of hungry bunnies, and they want to eat. They want a bite of that carrot. It's just as simple as that. Now, maybe some of the cases, because they haven't really gone in depth, so I'm only just speculating, but maybe some of the cases is, well, if you don't do this, you won't get that. And that just, again, it makes sense from speaking on a human nature standpoint, that some people literally relish in being the boss, and they will use that power over people at any time and get off on that. So the Abercrombie and Fitch guy, it wouldn't surprise me if he told some of the male models, yeah, you like traveling, you like going out of town, you like these fine clothes. Well, if you want to keep this going, I'm gonna need you to go ahead and attend this sex party. You don't have to do nothing too much, just go and be your attractive male model self at this sex party. And some of them could be going into it like that, and some of them could have been told, look, I need you to go ahead and make sure this client is happy. It's an unbalanced exchange because the CEO is the one who has the power to hire you, fire you, send you wherever. And that person, again, whether they agreed or didn't agree, may think this is a good thing or an opportunity at the time, and they were willing to give up certain things in order to live comfortably. Let me go ahead and finish reading some more of this. Where was I? Federal prosecutors said the trio paid dozens of men to travel around the world to engage in sex acts. The indictment mentions 15 alleged victims, identified as John Doe's 1 through 15. Jeffries allegedly recruited, hired, and paid a slate of household staff to facilitate and supervise the sex events. So, again, if your business is supposed to be fashion, why are you having male models go attend sex parties? And then on top of that, you are paying other people. You're paying folks to supervise these events. You're paying people to make sure if the male model decided, you know what, this is not even worth it, I'm cool, I don't want any parts of it. Now you have people, household staff, that's there to make sure, which is a form of intimidating people to do it. And if this is happening in this case, I'm pretty sure it happened in Diddy's case as well. And that, in my opinion, is how the sex trafficking is a part of the charges. And I'm speaking about Diddy. This guy, I mean, they just putting it out there and they're saying it, and it sounds very similar. Jacobson traveled throughout the United States and internationally to recruit and interview men for these so-called sex events. During tryouts of potential candidates, Jacobson required that the candidates first engage in sex acts with him, according to prosecutors. So, Jacobson, in order to see if these male models were going to possibly get down to make them, the organization, some money, they had to sleep with him first. So, yeah, that is very interesting, and all of this information is coming out. Okay, I guess I can go ahead and finish reading this. The indictment said many of the men were coerced, led to believe that attending the events would yield modeling opportunities with Abercrombie or otherwise benefit their careers, or in the alternative, that not complying with requests for certain acts during sex events could harm their careers. The defendants are charged with sex trafficking and interstate prostitution. They are expected to make appearances in the jurisdictions where the men were arrested in Florida and Wisconsin before they're brought to Central Islip in Long Island, New York, at a later date for arraignment. We will respond in detail to the allegations after the indictment is unsealed and when appropriate, but plan to do so in the courthouse, not the media. Brian Barber, an attorney for Jeffries, and Joe Nascimento, an attorney for Smith, told ABC News in identical statements. Abercrombie and Fitch and an attorney for Jacobson declined ABC News' request for comment. So this is really starting to heat up. Things are really starting to roll out since the Diddy case, because it would be unfair. You take Diddy down and you're not taking other possible abusers, pedos, you're not taking them down as well. So I'm just wondering what the public has to say. I'm wondering what you guys have to say. Definitely leave your comments down below. I'm going to go ahead and end this here. And if I've missed anything, please let me know. As always, I appreciate your support and thanks for watching. Bye.